What's up, kings and queens? It's your boy Dan from Daft Previews. I got 4 picks that I've already got down, which I'm going to share with you all today. Now, if that sounds interesting, let's go.
Sub to the channel because your boy's getting busy. Coming to you live from the west side of Sydney. We've got the free picks and the juice on the daily. It's all free, you don't even have to pay me.
Before we get into the picks, we've got to recap the day that was. I think I shared 5 bets by the end of it in the last video. Jokic was a void. 4 playable bets. We go 2-2. Been going 2-2, 1-1 quite a bit lately. So been a while since we've swept. I can't remember the last time, but let's talk about it. Yesterday, VIP went 3.36 units in the positive. Overall, went 4-4 in straight bets. Let's talk about it. I don't hide my losers here. Told you guys about Mark Williams over 10.5 points. We had great closing line value. The line moved up to about 12.5. My man scores 9 points, 2 from 7 shooting. Terrible shooting when you live on dunks and layups. So shot pretty poorly. Honestly didn't hate the bet. Nick Richards off the bench, he scored like 15 points, 10 boards. He got more minutes than Mark Williams. They pretty much do very similar things. I honestly didn't hate that bet. I thought it was a really good look. Well, unlucky with that one, I think. I also ran with PJ Washington over 4.5 points in the first quarter. Again, limited sample size of data without Luka, Kyrie, playing about 9-10 minutes, taking about 6-7 shots in all those games. Only took 3 shots in this one. Dinwiddie did get hot in that first quarter, so probably a bit of bad luck. Probably a bad read at the end of the day. I prefer to be accountable when my bets lose, so that's on me. I also took Derek Lively over 19.5 points and rebounds. I did like it because I thought Gafford's not going to play. Got a really good matchup, but I said the risk is he could get in some foul trouble, and he did. 15 points and rebounds in 19 minutes played. The German, Maxi Kleber, got a lot more minutes than Derek Lively today. Thought it was a good read, but yeah, the foul trouble is always a risk for him, and unfortunately it happened. And then Trace Jackson-Davis, over 7.5 boards. Got hooked on this one. Played a lot more minutes. When I projected him, I was looking at 25 minutes. His hit rate when he plays 25 minutes is insane for rebounds. He ends up playing 35 minutes, the most for the Warriors. I felt I was pretty unlucky not to hit because he got more time than I expected to. He killed it in terms of points, didn't get the boards. I didn't hate the bet, but it sucks that I lost. Did hit a couple of winners and relatively sweat-free. Took Devin Booker over points and rebounds. That cash in points alone. Porzingis over his boards. Bit of hood math. He finishes with 11 rebounds. Anthony Edwards over 3.5 3-pointers made. He finishes with 7. Quentin Grimes over 6.5 rebounds and assists. He had like 15 or something. Like just, yeah, pretty easy on the winner side of things. But, you know, unfortunate we didn't win more, but we did cash some value plays, which really took us in the profit there. And Edwards, 3-point ladder. Quentin Grimes, a value play. Then we also hit a doubles combo on Edwards and Grimes. Let me show you. So Edwards, we had him for 5 threes, 50 into 155. We had him for 6 threes, 25 into 131. Quentin Grimes looking for 5 rebounds and 3 assists, $50 into 200. And then we hit the doubles combo with both of them, $75 into 310. Sucks here. Mark Williams is the only one that let us down. We needed 15 points. We needed him to make 3 more baskets. He took 7 shots. He missed 5 layups. If he would have made 3 more layups, would have turned the $75 into $1,000. But what can you do? At least we're hitting the doubles combos. When those are hitting, we're going to be profitable anyway. Got another set of those value plays ready to go in VIP. So if you're interested in joining VIP, you can use the code ANT and get 50% off VIP. You get 7 3-pointers today. I've limited this discount code to the first 7 redemptions. So go ahead and check that out. The link's in the video description below. But if you just want to try out VIP, and I always encourage you guys to do it, my strategy is not for everybody. Get an entry into the Dabble and ParlayPlay Giveaway. Sign up to either app using the codes down below. Deposit $10. Send me an email with a screenshot of your account. If you sign up to both, you get 2 entries into the draw, and you double your chances. So once we hit 50 referrals, $100 going to 3 different people. So go ahead and check all that out. Links in the video description below. Let's get to these bets. Let's go. So we're jumping into props madness. This is by far the best tool you're going to find on the NBA. I get a lot of you guys sending me emails about how great it is, what can I do to make it better, all that type of stuff. So you guys are definitely loving it. I'm loving it too. And if you don't have it yet, go ahead and check it out. There's a 7-day free trial for props madness. Do your own research. You'd be surprised how easy it is to use. You get 25% off. Use the code DAFT as well when you happen to sign up. So I've got 4 different picks on this day. A couple of game time decisions, which makes me a little bit cautious. But let's talk about some of the bets that I do have. The first one we're going to head to is within the Raptors versus the Knicks. I've actually got 2 bets down on this one. First one we're looking at here is we're going to go with RJ Barrett. Let's talk about RJ Barrett for a second. I'm looking at over 19.5 points here for RJ Barrett. I do like his rebounds as well. I was going to go with points and rebounds, but I figure if he's going to cash his points and rebounds, he has to get the points anyway. So I'm just running with that. Looking at over 19.5 points. I'm looking at his game specifically with Scotty Barnes. Emmanuel Quickley, it's his second game with Emmanuel Quickley as well, but they've only played the one game together, which was a good one. And I can talk about that too. Now, RJ Barrett with Scotty Barnes in the lineup, averaging 23.6 points per game. He's hit this in 10 out of 15 games this season. So that's great. I love that. With Emmanuel Quickley, only one game with Quickley and Scotty Barnes. That was the last game against the Bucks. He scores 25 points, takes 18 shots. So the volume's definitely going to be there for RJ Barrett. He is up against his former team. And part of the reason why I love this, he's cashed this in every single game against the New York Knicks since he moved to the Toronto Raptors, including 2 games this season. 30 points and 23 points in the 2 games. In those games, good volume, getting to the free throw line, a lot of aggressiveness there for RJ Barrett, and I think he maintains that. 19.5, absolutely love that. If we're talking about the matchup, RJ Barrett not confined to a specific way of scoring, scores in transition. That's his most dominant play type, but that's only 25% of his points. Can score in the pick and roll as well, get to the free throw line, spot up shooting, all that type of stuff. So RJ Barrett, I'm expecting some volume. I'm expecting this game to be closer than the spread indicates. It's 11-point spread. I'm hoping the Raptors can keep it close here. The previous 2 games lost by 14 and then lost by 5. So when I say keep it close, just keep it close enough to the point where it's not a blowout so you don't get your minutes cut. In the previous games, you got 37 and 33 minutes against the Knicks. Blowout loss against the Bucks, still played 32. They've actually been blown out quite a bit lately. Last 3 games, they're getting pumped by 20 plus points. So hopefully they keep it closer than that. RJ Barrett gets the minutes, gets the shot attempts, scores 20 plus points here. Pretty straightforward. The next one, I'm looking at Karl Anthony Towns, the big purr, my zesty bestie. Now, here's a game time decision. I think it's a knee problem, tendonitis or something like that. So Karl Anthony Towns not running up his points, his rebounds, because that requires a whole lot of minutes in action, I think. I'm running with his assists today. Over 3.5 assists for Karl Anthony Towns. You're getting this for plus money on DraftKings. The closer you get to plus money, the better it tastes. He's hit this quite well. 16 out of 27 games this season, averaging 3.7 assists. So we basically are looking for him to overperform against his average against the Toronto Raptors. And I do like it. Firstly, he's killed the Toronto Raptors so far this season when it comes to passing and getting these assists. 6 and 7 assists, 6.5 assists per game against the Toronto Raptors. If it was one game, it could be an outlier, but doing it in 2, seeing high potential assist volumes, I do like it. He's averaging 8 potential assists over the 2 games against the Toronto Raptors. I wanted to get a bigger sample size of data of how often does he get the potential assists, what are his numbers like when he gets them. I was being conservative in this, and I looked at games where he saw at least 5 potential assists. If he gets at least 5 potential assists, he's over this line in 16 out of 19 games, averaging 4.7 assists. And if you wanted to be really conservative about it, if you look at games where he only gets 5 or 6 potential assists, he's still over this line in 8 out of 11 games. So he doesn't necessarily need to get 10 plus potential assists in order to cash this. Even if he gets to 5 or 6, it's a pretty good hit rate here for Karl Anthony Towns. The matchup is also fantastic. This Raptors team, they do allow the most assists to centers in the league, which is crazy for a team coming from the East. In the West, it makes sense. Like you might have to come up against Alperen Şengün multiple times a year, Nikola Jokic, Domantas Sabonis. Some good passing big men out there in the West, even Victor Wembanyama. But in the East, I'm trying to think who are the bigs really racking up the assists out in the East. I'm sure I'm overlooking somebody completely obvious, but not coming to mind. This Raptors team giving up a ton of assists to big men. Karl Anthony Towns looking to get at least 4 in this one. Come on, Big Purr, make your boy smile. So that's my second pick in these sets of games. What am I looking at next after RJ Barrett? Looking at more big men, actually. We've got the Blazers versus the Pelicans. And as much as I like betting on the Pelicans, Zion coming back kind of disrupts it a little bit. His game time decision, I'm sure, for this one. But even Denny Udby is a game time decision for Portland, and he's been a bit of a wagon. He would have been a nice bet for this Pelican game. So we'll have to wait till lineups are confirmed to take anything on him. But I'm actually looking to run with DeAndre Ayton in this one. Dominating. And for DeAndre Ayton, I'm looking at his rebounds today. His line's at 11.5. He's averaging 10.2 rebounds per game. He's hit this in 11 out of 26. What this is the line based against his average is telling us that he's got an excellent matchup here, and the books aren't wrong. The matchup is fantastic. The New Orleans Pelicans give up a ton of boards. I think they give it the most rebounds to centers. They give it the 5th most rebounds overall. They play at a decent pace, so the opportunities are going to be there. I like playing around with the filters, obviously, here on Props Madness, knowing the Pelicans give up a ton of boards, just looking at how DeAndre Ayton plays when he versus the bottom 10 teams in the league in terms of rebounds allowed. I also want to play with his minutes. RotoWire has him projected for at least 34 minutes in this game. I want to be conservative with it and look at games where he plays at least 30 minutes. I think that's a fair number to look at. And when DeAndre Ayton plays at least 30 minutes against the teams that give up a ton of rebounds, he's hit this line in 5 out of 7, averaging 12.4 rebounds. What you'll also notice is he played 3 games against the Pelicans. In all 3 of those games, he played 30-plus minutes. All 3 of those games, he covered this rebound line with 15, 12, and 13. Part of the reason they give up so many rebounds is that they really just lack size. Quite small, even missy, talented, young, athletic, but small at the end of the day. So, and if he's going to be looking to defend the rim, if he's going to be contesting shots around the rim for the against the Portland Trailblazers, DeAndre Ayton also has some good offensive rebound opportunities in this game as well. So I am liking DeAndre Ayton to get over his rebounds here for the 4th consecutive time against the Pelicans this season. Don't let me down, DA. If it does help, Klingon, backup center off the bench, he's a game time decision as well. As he was out, if he's out, Ayton might see a couple more minutes as well. So looking for DeAndre Ayton, take advantage of his matchup here against New Orleans Pelicans and do what he has been doing and dominate them. I did lean to his points plus rebounds. He scored very well against them in 2 out of the 3 games, but just running the rebounds in isolation today. DeAndre Ayton to get over his boards. Sticking with the theme of big men, actually. Looking at the Clippers versus the Nuggets. This is the last pick that I have for you guys. This is somewhat of a system play. Well, not really a system play. It's just a bet that I've played every single time these teams have played. Looking at Zubac here, my man Zubac, and I'm looking to play his over 2.5 assists. Now, the one thing I'll say before I talk about this is Nikola Jokic is a game time decision. He's unlikely to play. Apparently, it's an illness, but it was also Orthodox Christmas, so apparently he didn't want to play anyway, so we'll see what happens. I don't know if Jokic plays. Regardless, I'm liking Zubac to get assists here. Now, his line's at 2.5. He averages 2.4 assists per game in the year. He's only hit this in 11 out of 27 games, and he tends to hit this in certain types of matchups, and the Denver Nuggets are definitely one of them. If you look at the 3 games he's played against Denver this season, he's averaging 4.3 assists per game, 4, 5, and 4 assists. Like I said, this is something that I bet every single time, and it's because of how the way the Denver Nuggets play defense. The Denver Nuggets apply a lot of pressure in pick and roll situations, meaning James Harden gets that pick and roll that he loves to get. He likes to get a switch on screens to get a mismatch so he can go play one-on-one. The Denver Nuggets are not going to let that happen. They're going to put pressure on him. They're going to force the ball out of his hands in pick and roll situations. Zubac's always going to be the closest man to him to limit his turnovers. He'll get it to Zoo, and then Zoo's at the top of the key. He is typically playing 4-on-3, or if they slow down and set the offense, Zubac loves running handoff actions. So a lot of the time, what you're going to find, if Zubac's got the ball at the top of the key, he's going to be looking for Norm Powell for a handoff jump shot, or he's going to find James Harden, who really turns the corner on these handoffs, looking to pop that floater in the lane. So his potential assist volumes aren't high because these guys tend to dribble a few times after they get that handoff and he takes a shot. A lot of his assists very similar to Sabonis. Even Jarrett Allen this year doing a lot of handoff action. And what's funny is Jarrett Allen and Sabonis both covered their assist line against the Denver Nuggets, and they get a lot of their assists the same way. He's not looking to create. He's just dumping that ball off. Norm Powell's taking shots around the screen, and Harden's popping floaters in the lane. So I think we see a lot of that. Denver will continue to pressure Harden in that pick and roll and get the ball out of his hands, and Zoo will just keep doing what he has been doing. This is not a play that the Denver Nuggets are going to try to shut down. If anything, it's by design. Get the ball out of James Harden's hand. If Zoo has it, he's not going to go one-on-one with his defender anyway. Nikola Jokic, if he does play, loves playing in the drop. If DeAndre plays a bigger set of minutes, he plays the drop just as much as Nikola Jokic does. I see the same outcomes here. If anything, it might help us a little bit more if Jokic is out. So Zubac, liking the over 2.5 assists. You're getting pretty good odds for it as well. Plus money, Caesars, ESPN bet, minus 105 and 365, and Fliff. I think there's terrific odds for something that's happened 100% of the time and something that I think can be replicated based on how the Denver Nuggets play defense and how the Clippers play offense. This makes a ton of sense to me. I'm going to be riding Zubac against the Nuggets to get some assists until the wheels fall off or until the line moves to 3.5. At 3.5, I think it's a little bit sweaty. 2.5, I absolutely love it. I beat you, Zubac. Going over. Pumping the brakes real quick to say thank you for watching the video. I do appreciate it. I ask that you like it. If you did like it, of course. No pressure here. Drop me a comment down below, though. Those comments that you leave for me, I love reading them, but it also helps this video get out to more people. So let me know what your thoughts are down below, and I'll be sure to reply. And if you haven't already, please subscribe to the channel. We're blowing up deluxe. I think our next milestone is 24,000 subscribers. 24. That's a Kobe number. Let's do it for Kobe. For the mama, baby, get me to 24,000 subscribers. Subscribe to the channel because your boy's getting busy. It's your first time watching. I drop bangers like this every single day. Sometimes there's a lot of picks. Sometimes there's not much. A lot of the times there's a deep dive. So I'm looking to give you then more than just picks. I'm giving you insights and analysis. So we're about to jump into a deep dive. Not too deep, though. I'm still a little bit tired. Need to catch up on some sleep. And I also don't love too much more in this slate. But I'll take you through some of the things I found interesting, some of the things I was close to betting, give you some of my insights. Then you can make a call on whether you want to bet that or not. Obviously, what I share in the video is just the bets that I have up till now. I'll obviously do more research. I'll find more picks from there. So who knows? Maybe some of the things I talk about here are the bets that I officially land on. But without further ado, let's get to it. Let's start to dive, baby. Let's go. All right, we got the Thunder versus the Cavs. I didn't have any bets on this game, although it's probably going to be the most viewed game on the slate. There's no injuries, game time decisions, or nothing like that. I honestly just think this is a tough game to bet on. Initially, I was thinking SGA should be able to score a lot of points here on the Cavs, but line's at 32.5. He's got a somewhat difficult matchup, but the Cavs, they're going to make SGA work today, and I think SGA plays a lot of minutes, which he normally doesn't do. He'll play a lot of minutes. He'll see a lot of volume. Good chance that he covers the line, but I don't think I can get there. I thought about a same-game parlay for SGA to get 30 points, 3 rebounds, 3 assists. That was like minus 120, I think, or minus 125. But even the 30 points is not as safe as the hit rate may appear. Who knows? Something surprising could happen. The Cavs could potentially blow them off the park. OKC, underdogs in this game. We don't see that too often. Cleveland are at home, and Cleveland have been playing extremely well this year. So OKC, people expected them to play as good as they are. Cavs catching a lot of teams by surprise at the moment. Their offense is firing. So yeah, but that was a lean, but I didn't even, once I looked at it, I was like, no, I don't think I'll take that. Jalen Williams, he's been underwhelming. Hit rate bettors betting he's under. His line's usually a little bit higher given the opportunity, his shot attempts, but he shoots a very low percentage, and he has a somewhat difficult matchup today. It is a big game. Does he show up in big games? Or not all the time. He was poor against the Boston Celtics. His volume was low. Hasn't hit this line in quite some time. It's been a couple of weeks since he's gone over 20.5 points. Yeah, up against Evan Mobley today. Probably has the advantage out on the perimeter, but he'll probably see a lot of Dean Wade defending him, if I'm being honest with you guys. Dean Wade, pretty decent defender if you ask me. So an under in Jalen Williams, definitely something that I'm leaning towards. Don't necessarily want to bet unders because I feel like an absolute jackass when they lose. And when you're giving picks out and people are tailing them, and I know that you guys hate losing on unders too. So, but Jalen Williams and under makes a lot of sense to me. Matchup's difficult. Hasn't been hitting it as of late. For sure. I've got no reason to take his over. I've got a couple of reasons to take his under. That's definitely one way I'd like to lean. Isaiah Hartenstein wanted to get there with his boards. Cavs, pretty average matchup for rebounds. A lot of similar types of centers have rebounded very well against Cleveland. We know they're not going to stretch the floor. I think Jared Allen gets a lot of time today. Mobley probably gets a little bit of time at the center spot. But Isaiah Hartenstein, I do like his rebounds. His hit rate hasn't been great as of late. The rebound opportunities have been there, but I feel like we've seen the best of Isaiah Hartenstein already this season. Came out of the gates raging hot, starting to simmer down a little bit. But this has my attention, the fact that similar types of centers have rebounded extremely well against the Cleveland Cavaliers this season. This requires a bit more investigation, but I do lean to the over here for Isaiah Hartenstein. The odds are pretty good for it as well. Pinnacle, minus 101. Bovada, plus 100, plus money. So Isaiah Hartenstein, that's something I'm going to investigate a little bit further. The hit rate as of late worries me a bit, not going to lie, because it's not like all these games are blowouts or anything. Like he's getting minutes. He's playing what you'd expect, 32 to 34 minutes. Just hasn't been cashing as of late. But in a big game like this, I can probably see him get in there. So Hartenstein, I'm leaning to his over on boards. Another one I was considering taking was Lou Dort's 3-pointers prop. He's hit this in 4 consecutive games. It's also plus money as well. Plus 148 at Bet Rivers, plus 140 at Bet365. Like the over here for Lou Dort and his 3-pointers prop. Matchup difficult for everyone, but Lou Dort should get a lot of game time, given how important this game is. Probably get to chase Donovan Mitchell around a little bit as well. I'm sure he loves that. Bit of Dortcher chamber action. Yeah, lean to the over and his 3-pointers made prop as well. It is a plus money play, probably worth half a unit, I would say. I'm not as confident in it. Hit rate's good. The matchup makes sense. Lou Dort should see the volume and opportunity. Looking at the Cavs players, honestly couldn't tell you nothing. Mitchell, Garland, awful matchup in this pick and roll. OKC, one of the best in the league at defending that. Jared Allen, I've seen a lot of people betting his over on rebounds. And, you know, this is why I think this is silly. Like, people saying his rebound rate is excellent if he plays more than 30 minutes. And it is. He's hit this in 13 out of 18 games, right? But looking at projections, he's only projected to play 28 minutes here on a lot of projection sites. So I don't know where this whole over 30 minutes he hits at this rate, because there's no guarantee he's going to play 30 minutes. So I thought that was a little bit silly. But yeah, if Jared Allen sees the game time, of course, if he gets more than 30 minutes, he's got a good chance of covering this line. I just don't know if he's going to see more than 30 minutes, because OKC, if they play small and Hartenstein's not on there, does Jared Allen need to play that many minutes? We might see a lot more Mobley time at the center spot. Like, there's a lot of things that could happen here. These projection sites, a lot of the time when they look at minutes, they're pretty accurate. So I've got some hesitations around Jared Allen. Mitchell and Garland, difficult game to score points. Mobley, difficult matchup to score points as well. But this is the difficult thing when you're looking at matchup data. You try to identify where the weak spot is. I think the weak spot for both teams when it comes to giving up points is more around spot-up shooters. They're both very good at not limiting, but defending the high usage rate players. If anything, Cleveland probably more likely to play OKC one-on-one. OKC don't play too much defense one-on-one. Even with the great defenders they have, they're still going to send a lot of help to really shut people down. Cleveland probably more happy to play SGA one-on-one, which is why SGA points look okay. Dort should get some looks too. But being honest with you guys, if I was going to take a bet in this game, it's probably Isaiah Hartenstein, but I still probably wouldn't do it. I think that's because it's going to be a great game to watch. Enjoy the spectacle. We then have the Wizards versus the 76ers. This one, no Embiid, no Paul George. Andre Drummond's a game-time decision. Kuzma's game-time. There's almost everybody in Washington's a game-time decision. So couldn't really take any bets. Tyrese Maxey's playing. His lines are through the roof. Points line 30.5, assist line 7.5. I'm just going to stay away. I'm not going to bet an under because he could kill it. I'm not going to bet an over because it could flop by a long way. The one thing I did consider, though, is Gershon Yabusele, and purely it's because of his games without Joel Embiid, without Andre Drummond. His points and rebounds has got my attention. Lines at 20.5. He averages 21 points and rebounds without Embiid and Drummond. So when he plays a lot of the center spot, he does have a soft matchup here against the Wizards, a lot easier than the other matchup he's seen. Cleveland, Charlotte, Orlando, Phoenix. Phoenix, probably a soft matchup as well. And in that game, he had 14 points and 10 rebounds. Up against Washington, I think he can produce something similar. I just know Andre Drummond is unlikely to play. He didn't even practice yesterday. But if Andre Drummond does play, I don't think Yabusele can get close to this, right? Because he's not going to get the rebounds. So if Andre Drummond is out, I'll probably look at betting Yabusele's points plus rebounds. That's a strong lean of mine. But outside of that, nothing in that game that interests me. Bulls versus the Pacers. Tyrese Halliburton's a game-time decision. He's the one player that I wanted to bet on. Points plus assists is what I was looking at. Hallie's been playing very good lately. So have the Pacers. And Hallie's cooked the Bulls in their last matchup. 23 points, 8 assists. His assist line's at 8.5. I don't want to play that on its own because he finishes on 8 assists a lot. But points and assists, I do like the combination of that for Tyrese Halliburton. But if I'm thinking about it, if I'm looking at points and assists, I might as well just take his points if I'm expecting the points to carry his assists. But Halliburton, if he plays, I think he's got a good look here. Looking at the Bulls, there's a couple of different narratives you could look at. Zach LaVine been killing it lately. So if you're big on recent form, 30-plus points in 3 straight games. 4 out of the last 5 games, actually. It looks like when he's far out, check this interesting trend out for Zach LaVine. Zach LaVine is the bitch or beast. He's either killing this or he's not getting close to it. So what you could run here is for Zach LaVine to score 30. If you think Zach LaVine can ball out today, 30 points for Zach's probably a good look. Or you could bet an alternate under and take it real low and get some juicy odds for it. But Zach LaVine could either embarrass me if I bet on his over, or he can make me look like a legend, and it's a sweat-free bet. So he's going to kill this, or he's not going to get close to it based on his numbers for the last couple of weeks. But Zach LaVine, definitely playing good right now. I'm just not sure how I feel about it. The matchup's not necessarily ideal in terms of his play style and where he likes to score. Zach LaVine likes to score in transition, average matchup there. But in terms of defending above the break, this Indiana Pacers team, 4th fewest points above the break, and Zach LaVine scores 41% of his points in that area. And if we look at the recent games, a lot of these teams he's been up against, they do allow points above the break. The Wizards, the Knicks are mid, but the Spurs, they're bottom 10 in terms of points allowed above the break, whereas the Pacers, very difficult. But at the same time, Zach LaVine scored 32 points against the Pacers last time. So probably lean to the over for Zach LaVine. If I'm going to bet the over, I'm probably just going to bet him for 30 points. Bet him for 30, stake a little bit less. That's what I'm thinking about. We also have Kobe White, who's been playing very good lately as well. And the whole angle around Kobe White is games without Ayo Dosunmu. And he's over this points line in 5 out of 6, averaging 23.5 points per game. But it's very similar to Zach LaVine. Play style, shot zones, difficult matchup. Kobe White scored 19 points last time he played the Indiana Pacers, and he took 19 shots. 19 shots is a lot for someone like Kobe White. Even with Dosunmu out of the lineup, he's only gone over that shot attempt total in one game. So Kobe White, I'd be a little bit hesitant there. His assists, that could be an interesting look. Line at 3.5, juice to the max. You're probably best to just take him over 4.5 at plus money. Hitting this quite well without Dosunmu, and he had 9 assists the last time he played the Indiana Pacers. So that could be a really interesting look. Josh Giddey's not guaranteed to get time, whereas Kobe's going to get the minutes. It's just what his role is going to be. He's dependent on who's on the court with. So Kobe assists at an alternate line. That's probably got my attention too. But outside of that, I was going to bet on Patrick Williams, actually. Not going to lie. I was looking at Patrick Williams, and this is more points allowed per the position. The Indiana Pacers are notorious year after year after year, giving up points to power forwards. Patrick Williams not necessarily known for his scoring ability, but he's been playing okay as of late. Consistent minutes with no Torrey Craig off the bench to take some. So Patrick Williams will get some game time. The problem is Patrick Williams doesn't see a ton of usage, doesn't take a ton of shots on a consistent basis. He'll probably take between 6 to 10 shots per game. Vucevic can take a lot of shots. Zach LaVine's clearly taking a lot of shots. Kobe White capable of taking a lot of shots as well. So I just don't know where Patrick Williams sits in this offense. He's probably the 5th, 6th option, if that even counts as one. He's not an option, you could say. But I did lean to him. His point line's only at 9.5, and he does have a great matchup here, scoring as a spot-up shooter, and the Indiana Pacers giving a lot to spot-up shooters. What else do we have in the next game? We've got the Pistons versus the Nets. And shall I say it? Malik Beasley. I can almost guarantee you're going to see heaps of cappers, maybe on Twitter. I don't know. For those of you who follow me on Twitter, you're probably obvious I don't use it that much. But I can assume here all the cappers on Twitter are probably all pumping out Michael Beasley, Michael, none of that. Malik. Let's just call him Measley because that's what he is. I think a lot of people are backing Malik Beasley today, and it makes sense. I honestly think Malik Beasley goes over, but I'm going to do you guys a favor and not bet on that. Do VIP a favor and not bet on that. But I do think he goes over today. Great matchup, bounce back spot. I also considered looking at Tobias Harris. Tobias Harris has been killing it lately since Jaden Ivey went down. In this game against Orlando, Jaden Ivey got injured in that game. Tobias went over, and he's gone over his points line in every game since. The challenge that I see here is Tobias Harris, his volume hasn't been really high. He's just been shooting at a very high percentage lately. He does have a good matchup against Brooklyn, but we're not betting on volume for Tobias Harris. We're betting on him to be efficient, and I think that's a poor strategy for betting. You can't predict efficiency. I can predict volume perhaps, and if players take X amount of shots, then I'll live with whatever the result is. But with Tobias Harris, the volume's not guaranteed here. If anything, it's more likely to be low, and you need efficiency in order to hit this line. But he has been playing well as of late. So I did consider it, couldn't get there. Cade Cunningham, his lines are pretty high. He has a difficult matchup to score some points. He scores 38% of his points in the pick and roll. The Nets this season allow the fewest points in the league in the pick and roll. But the Nets this season, right now, they're a very different team to what they were on the season. Clearly in a tank mode, trading away some assets, a lot of players being rested. I don't think their pick and roll defense is going to be that strong in this game, I would say. But yeah, Cade's his line is quite high. Should see the usage rate. I get it. But if Cade doesn't happen to hit this bet and I've bet it, then I'm going to be filthy knowing that the Nets on the season have a good defense to pick and roll stuff. So I'm choosing to be conservative and staying away. Looking at the Nets, there's nothing there that caught my interest, regardless of how much I look. Raptors, Knicks, we've gone through the big purr and his knee injury. We've got Scotty Barnes. Now, I was looking at Scotty Barnes. I think he scores well today, but I'm already betting on RJ Barrett. The one thing I did consider is the rebounds. So his line's at 8.5 boards. He's hit this in 10 out of 23 games this season. So graphs like this, I actually don't mind seeing. I find this a little bit interesting. So he's got a floor. The floor meaning like what's the lowest he'll probably get. The floor for Scotty Barnes is about 3 rebounds, right? But the ceiling for Scotty Barnes is 14 rebounds, meaning he could fall anywhere between 3 and 14 because he's done it many times this season. He's had a couple of games with very minimal rebound numbers and a lot of games with very high rebound numbers. So when you see graphs like that, a lot of people look at this and say this player is inconsistent. And there is nothing wrong with inconsistency because if you think about it, who is consistent? If they're consistent, then you have no edge to bet on it. And when I like seeing graphs like this, the reason why this could be a bet. What does that even mean? Why this could be a good bet is if you can understand why he goes over and you can understand why he goes under, then this could be an excellent bet here. So Scotty Barnes lines at 8.5. He's gone under both games against the Knicks this season. 5 rebounds in one, but he only played 23 minutes, and 3 rebounds in the following game where he played 36 minutes. So there's something to do with this matchup, perhaps, that makes the rebounding difficult for Scotty Barnes. I haven't had the time to dig into it to find out. But I'll be betting the under in Scotty Barnes rebounds if and once I look into the games and I understand why he doesn't rebound well in these types of matchups, then it's something that I can look at. So I lean to the under. Makes sense based on the hit rate against New York this season. I just need to understand why. How and why does this happen? The next one is nothing. Actually, there's nothing else in this matchup that I like. Jalen Brunson, that's a pass for me. If Cat doesn't play, Jalen Brunson's probably going to see a ton of usage. So we'll see what happens there. Blazers versus the Pels. I've got no insights here on CJ, DeJounte Murray. This whole Pelicans team, I can't help you with that right now. I don't know if Zion's going to play. And then looking at the Portland Trailblazers, we know Jeremy Grant is out. Since Jeremy Grant's been out, Anthony Simons has been killing it. The problem, and why I haven't looked, or I have looked, but the reason why I probably won't, this Pelicans team, as bad as they are defensively, they're pretty good at limiting points to pick and roll ball handlers. 7th fewest points allowed to pick and roll ball handlers. But in saying that, similar types of players have gone off against them this season. But also in head-to-head matchups, Anthony Simons is over this points prop in all 3 games against the Pelicans this season. But in all 3 of these games, Shaedon Sharpe didn't play. Now, Shaedon Sharpe's averaging 17.9 points per game. That's a lot of points you need to replace. Shaedon Sharpe is playing in today's game. So do I think Anthony Simons replicates what he did in all the other games against the Pelicans? I don't know. I don't think so. I think that might be difficult if you're sharing the load, but at the same time, there's no Jeremy Grant. I think what I've learned this year, and probably why I'm so profitable this year compared to previous years, is if I can find reasons not to bet it, then I shouldn't bet it. Or if I at least think about why I shouldn't bet it, then at least I know what type of risk I'm taking on, which means if the bet loses, I'd be more comfortable with the outcome. And just looking at what I'm seeing with Anthony Simons, I know that the recent form is great. I know that he's done it against them before. But again, Shaedon Sharpe is in here. Shaedon Sharpe is a similar type of matchup. Shaedon Sharpe could score a lot of points today. And I guess I'm just not willing to take that risk on Anthony Simons right now. Denny Advia, game time decision. He's someone I would have loved to bet on in this type of matchup. His matchup would have been fantastic for points, for assists, for rebounds. I think he would have had a great matchup. We don't know if he's going to play. So, yeah, there's hopefully some value insights, even though I'm not telling you whether I like an over or an under. I think there's just a lot of things, a lot of reasons why I wouldn't bet on some of these. And, yeah, look, it's working for me so far. That's all I'll say. Clippers, Nuggets, Jokic, we don't know if he's going to play. So I think right now doing insights on Murray, Porter, Westbrook, all those guys, it doesn't make much sense unless we know. If you wanted to go with the assumption that Nikola Jokic is not going to play, then you could just go with a Russell Westbrook PRA perhaps. His usage rate's going to be high. He'll take a lot more shots. He'll get a lot more potential assists. He'll just get a lot more of everything. I think Westbrook without Jokic. I think right now, Westbrook might be the only player I'd bet on without Jokic. Because the thing is with Murray, even though he probably gets more opportunities and responsibility with no Jokic, he's probably going to get double teamed more. Russell Westbrook's not going to get double teamed, you see? So that makes it difficult. Same thing with MPJ. So if I was going to bet on anyone for the Nuggets right now, before knowing whether Nikola Jokic is going to play, it would be Westbrook, because I don't think his lines drop. I think they only have potential to go a lot higher. If you look at his on-off court numbers with Jokic, then you'll see it. His usage rate is sky high. When Jokic is there, he's happy to defer. Now, looking at the Clippers, we do have Kawhi Leonard. Now, I did consider betting on Kawhi Leonard first quarter points. I know I bet he's under in PRA last time, but very aggressive in that last game against Minnesota. I think it's pretty clear he knew there was a minutes restriction. So in the first 8 minutes, he took 7 shots in that last game. Very aggressive, but we're working very small sample size of data. He's only played 2 games. To assume he's always going to be aggressive in the first quarter, I think is foolish. He took 3 shots in that first game against Atlanta. He does have a soft matchup today against Denver, so I get it. That's partly why I was leaning, but yeah, I wanted to look at it under again, but his matchup is softer than the Minnesota one, and his line has dropped. It was 20.5 when we bet it against Minnesota. It's at 18.5 against Denver. So he's got a lower line and an easier matchup. I don't want to bet an under on that. Also assuming he's probably going to get better as the more games he plays. So, yeah, I was a little bit hesitant on that. Zoo, outside of his assists, I did also like his rebounds. Been rebounding quite well lately. The spread in this game is only 3 points, so we should see a ton of minutes. Do like his boards here, provided there's no blowout. And then we have the Spurs versus the Bucks. This was a difficult one. I'm going to assume here a lot of people are betting on Giannis. A lot of people are betting on Giannis. One, because his line opened up so low, 28.5, I think, maybe 27.5. And when lines open up low, they're low for a reason. But when these lines open up low, it means the hit rate's going to look great. When people use a lot of these apps, they see a great hit rate for a good player. They think, oh, great play here. You're probably going to hear people saying Giannis has hit this points line in 80% of games when he plays X amount of minutes. Like, yeah, that's all true. But again, the lines get moved down for a reason. So for that, it worries me a little bit. Giannis is averaging 31 points a game over his last 27, while they set the line at 28.5. I did look into it a bit further to figure out why. And Giannis, I think in his most recent game or after it during, I'm not sure, he got stitches in his pinky finger in his right hand, and he's right-handed. And I guess the way that I thought about it is if I got stitches in my dominant hand that I'm playing basketball with, that I rely on, I'll make money with these hands. I use this to dribble. I use it to shoot. Use it to play defense. Use it to make my layups. Like, Giannis is not a good free throw shooter as it is. You throw in a couple of stitches into his fingers into the mix. I don't know. Does that give him potential to miss a couple shots he would normally make? Potentially. But again, I considered why I shouldn't bet it, and I thought of that. And I've been burnt by Giannis a few times. Don't want it again. So Giannis, I'm a little bit uncertain of it. I get it. He scored 40-something points the last time he played Wemby last season. But, man, you're going to make a bet based off one game a year ago with different circumstances to now. I'm not down with that. We've got Dame as well. Dame, a little bit inconsistent this season. Goes through patches, and right now he's going through an inconsistent patch where his volume's not there or his shot percentage is awful. He does have a decent matchup here against the pick and roll and shooting above the break, right? The Spurs give up points above the break. The Spurs give up points to pick and roll ball handlers. But the one thing that scared me off betting on Damian Lillard today is watching how the Spurs defended Jamal Murray when they played the Nuggets. Jamal Murray has a similar scoring profile as Damian Lillard. And what the Spurs were doing was double teaming him on pick and rolls and leaving Nikola Jokic wide open. So thinking about that, Dame to score might be a little bit difficult if they employ the same strategy. But does that mean they leave Brook Lopez wide open? So that's just one thought that I'm having. Does Brook Lopez see some wide open looks in this one? Above the break, can he get some shots up? 3-point lines at 1.5 at decent odds. Last season in 2 games against the Spurs, he went under in both games. But he took 5 attempts in both of those games. He just happened to shoot 10% in them. So Brook Lopez, I think he could get some looks in this one. Scored quite well last season against them, but that's just a theory. I'm not saying I think this is going to happen, but I've got no bets in this game. I've got Wemby in here. Wemby killed me in that last game against the Bulls. I can't believe he went under. And he's up against the Bucks today. A much more difficult matchup than the last one he played against the Bulls. Saw volume and shot like shit. Does he get better in this game? Probably, but yeah, I couldn't possibly bet on Wemby in this one. One I was close to betting on actually was Chris Paul. Chris Paul, and I was looking at his assist prop today. 7.5, 70% hit rate on the season. The Bucks, 10th fewest assists allowed in the league, though, or 9th fewest assists allowed in the league. So the matchup part, that part to scare me a little bit. Chris Paul not facing the Bucks this season. Yeah, this is another one where like they've moved the line down for a reason. Chris Paul's averaging 8.5 assists in his last 27 games. They set the line at 7.5 and give us minus 120 odds. Yeah, I don't think I can get there. It seems a little bit suspicious to me. I'd say it's too good to be true. And now he probably cashes it. But apart from the hit rate, I can't tell you why Chris Paul gets these assists. So that's part of the reason why I'm not betting it. But yeah, wouldn't hate you if you did bet the over, because I'm not saying to bet the under here. But yeah, I think this slate's a little bit poo-poo. I'm not overly excited about it. I probably only get a couple of more bets down once lineups are confirmed. But we'll see where we land. For those of you in my VIP, you'll get every single bet that I place the minute I place the bet. I actually share the bet with you guys before I even submit it myself. So hopefully we're placing bets at the same time, and hopefully we green out. But I do appreciate you if you made it this far into the video. Like, subscribe, all that good stuff. Give me a comment down below. Help your boy grow. 24,000 coming up next. Let's go. I'll catch you in the next one, boys and girls, kings and queens. Best of luck to us. Peace.
Sub to the channel cause your boy's getting busy. Coming to you live from the west side of Sydney. We've got the free picks and the juice on the daily. It's all free, you don't even have to pay me.